splits the car in half was done by an ILM animator as a test.
Sideways, you guys all remember him, right? He was the Audi R8 Decepticon that appeared in Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, and is most famously known for being the only Transformer in the saga to be taken out while in vehicle mode. Besides that, film-wise, he's not really known for anything else, and because of this, many fans consider him a wasted character, because all he did was show up, crash through a building, and get killed by Sideswipe. Because of this on-screen characterization, fans felt that Sideways was unjustly killed, because he never actually harmed anyone in the movie and was just fleeing from the Autobots. So at face value, as a lot of fans would say, Sideways did nothing wrong. However, this wasn't always going to be the case, since originally Sideways was going to have a larger role in the film, where he was going to cause a lot more mischief and mayhem. And we know this thanks to this animatic of the Shanghai battle. And for those of you who might not know what animatics are, they're animations that serve as a rough draft of the film. Their main purpose was to allow director Michael Bay and team to visualize and choreograph each shot before going out on set to film them. And if you want to learn more about animatics, I have a great mini documentary about them that you can check out after this video. Now switching back to Sideways in his animatic, the first thing we get to see is him nearly running over several pedestrians before crashing through the building. After he makes his way through, he shakes off several motorcycle Autobots, and after losing his roof, he decides to transform and goes on to kill several Nest soldiers. Afterwards, Sideswipe engages him, and after missing his shot, Sideways attempts to flee. However, Sideswipe is able to jump over him and slices him in half, ending Sideways' reign of terror once and for all. Now, as you guys can see, this version of Sideways depicted here is leaps and bounds more menacing, and by far a lot more cooler than the one we ultimately ended up getting. And his death at the end here is completely justified. So what happened? Why would Bay and the team end up going with the Sideways we got in the film over the one depicted in the animatic? And well, rumor has it that it was all Audi's fault. You see, what we know for a fact is that during the pre-production for Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, Audi was looking to win some screen time for one of their cars in any of the films that were releasing in the summer of 2009. They turned to Ruben E. Gyoko Herlick, one of the founders of Propaganda Global Entertainment Marketing, for help, because his company specialized in placing products in films, TV shows, and games. Herlick zeroed in on Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, and while General Motors had already cut a deal to make their cars a part of the robot cast, Herlick had a unique advantage in getting the Audi R8 into the film. For years, his company had provided director Michael Bay with several products for his films, most notably a Nokia N93i cell phone, which would become the evil Allspark mutation Nokia bot. Thanks to this previous history with Bay, Herlick was able to talk him into finding a role for the Audi R8 in Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. And as we know, he was successful, since the filmmakers would swap Sideways' alternate mode from a Lamborghini to an Audi R8. Now, when it comes to the reason why Sideways' fight scene was ultimately changed, the only explanation we have is a rumor, unfortunately. This comes from the TF Wiki, and I wasn't able to find a source backing any of this up, so take this with a massive grain of salt. You see, apparently due to licensing issues with Audi and the writer's strike, Sideways' role was dramatically altered and he was nearly taken out of the script entirely. The fight scene shown in the animatic between Sideways and the Autobots is what we were supposed to see in the film, and one of the things Sideways would have said during his fight with Sideswipe is that the fallen shall rise again. Ultimately, the scene was never finished, Audi backed out of the licensing agreement, and the scene was rewritten to focus on Demolisher, which is why he was the one to say the fallen shall rise again. However, Audi later decided that they did want the Audi R8 to be featured in the film, so the original fight scene was drastically cut down in order to get the Audi R8 in, giving us what we ultimately got in the film. So yeah, there you guys have it. That was the darker version of Sideways that we never got to see. Hopefully, we will get to see this interpretation of our beloved Sideways in a future film.